everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is the JRPG Report, episode 210. My name is James Fisher. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. It's going to be another short one. Not a ton to talk about this week. If you are listening to this on release date, you'll note, hey, it's Thursday. What's the deal? I thought you was Friday, and we are. Fridays are still the deal, but there's things going on in James's world tomorrow, which are going to prevent said podcast from being recorded. I'll be honest, it's going to be this way next week as well. Fridays, yeah, sometimes that happens, but this week it's personal, next week it's work, so you guys know how that goes. Enough of that nonsense. On to our short podcast. There just wasn't a whole lot of things to talk about this week, but there are some cool things to pass along, and maybe some new games that weren't on your radar that we're going to bring to light during the show. First and foremost, if you are again listening to this on a release date, maybe you have started playing Relayer, as its worldwide release date is March the 24th. It's available worldwide. If you're in Japan and Asia, you can be playing this either digitally or physically. As we noted last week, it's digital only in the West until a physical edition is out May the 20th. Hoping this is not the beginning of things to come. Kadokawa Games has released a theme song trailer for the game, which is called Into the Lost Code, and it's sung by Kocho, Kocho, all in capital letters. In addition to this cool theme song video they released, there's some patches going on. There's day 1 and day 2 patches, and from the sounds of it, they were much needed. Day 1, as i.e. today, March the 24th, you are getting, this was based on the feedback from the demo this past February the 26th. 2 significant tweaks have been made. Number 1, improved visibility of movement squares when they overlap an enemy's danger zone. Before, it was very hard to determine enemy movement when these zones overlap. So if you played the demo and said, hey, I hope they improve that, well, they have. Number 2, adds a confirmation selection when choosing auto mode in battle. This is to prevent accidental activation of the mode. Tomorrow, March 25th, patch day 2. There are 4 things included in this one. Number 1, improved operability of the Star Cube, making it easier to navigate with either the analog stick or D-pad. The visibility of the various skills on the tree has also been improved when zooming out. Number 2, improved event scene high-speed mode, further speeding up the story sequences for those who want to get through the story faster. This is something that I would not have gotten to experience, but apparently they were not adequate. So hard mode and very hard mode have been made more difficult based on feedback from the demo version. So if you are if you said, hey, this needs to be upped, well, they did it. Other Star Cube issues have been fixed when certain character abilities did not reflect properly when unlocked. So there you go. I never mind patches that first day, especially. Sounds like these were some much needed patches and based off feedback from actual players. So that's some cool stuff going on there. And so you are perhaps waiting till you get off of work. You're going to pop in that Relayer. Make sure it wants you to update that so you can get the proper game experience. There is a new collaboration event going on between Tales of Arise and Scarlet Nexus in the form of crossover DLC for each game. For Tales of Arise, familiar items from Scarlet Nexus such as Yuto's weapon Mio Muramaza and the attachment Baki-chan will be available free of charge soon. Not sure what this soon means, but okay. For Scarlet Nexus, items seen on ailments such as the Blazing Sword and Broken Iron Mask worn by Alphen from Tales of Arise will be available. It's currently unclear whether this content will be free. It's small cosmetic items. I would hope that it's free, but you guys know how it goes with DLC. They could easily charge for this stuff. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't overly impressed with the images that were accompanying this. Now, if it's free, awesome. That's great. Who cares? But if they're going to charge some money for these things, I don't know. I guess it's really no different than outfits that they charge bukus for in our games. But it seems to me they've already made that money. And I guess when Adam alluded to this on the Facebook page, that when I kind of posted this story, there was hopes of actual crossover event. These two games coming out so closely in release windows. There was already the Sword Art Online kind of crossover event with Tales of Arise. Maybe you thought you were going to get something that with it, but then Dalton pointed out, and rightfully so, that there was going to be no real DLC for Tales of Arise. So that kind of nipped that one in the bud. I don't know if we're going to see anything future or not. It is certainly plausible, but yeah, so there you go. If you saw that and we're kind of excited, that's kind of the way it goes. Soul Hackers 2 news. There is going to be the first character trailer releasing today. I think I saw that for Arrow, but we did get a bit more information about it. But there are some spoilers going on, so it's one of those deals that I shared the story on our social media channels, both on Twitter and Facebook. If you would like to learn more about this, go right ahead. But I know personally I cannot stand spoilers. At least they said that there's going to be in this article, so it kind of warns you ahead of time. I saw there was another trailer that they released that also had significant spoilers, so they kind of need to dial that back. I don't love that idea particularly. At least they're being upfront about it, that it's in there. But yeah, it's kind of stinky that they would even do that to begin with. But what are you gonna do? This is exciting. If you have been playing Final Fantasy, is it Exvius? War of the Visions? I believe that's the full name of it. There is a new collaboration event. War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. That's what its official title is, the mobile game. There is a crossover collaboration event with Final Fantasy VI. So kind of working in tandem with the new Pixel remaster release of it on PC and iOS devices. Players will be able to obtain Locke, Terra, and Celis from a limited summon pool. Additionally, Kefka will appear as an event boss alongside Deathgaze. That is awesome. During the event period, players will be able to obtain a ultra rare Locke as a login bonus. The Final Fantasy VI and War of the Visions collaboration event will begin yesterday, March the 23rd, and will last up until April the 26th. There was a short trailer that they released on their Twitter page. Provides a brief glimpse of some of the abilities Locke, Terra, and Celis will have. Ooh, they misspelled Celis. That's not... How dare they misspell it? Well, Celis will have, along with the individual classes they will carry into the game. Terra will appear as a Magitech Elite. Locke will arrive as the Treasure Hunter, of course. And Celis will appear as an Imperial Rune Knight. Very cool. I've not played this game. If there was ever going to be a time I was going to, it could be this. So I might have to check that one out. That's certainly tempting. Of course, Locke is my boy, one of my all-time favorite characters, so I can log in and get him for free. Ooh, that's tempting, to say the least. Only a few more days. April the 7th for Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition, coming to PS4, Switch, Xbox One, and PC. Leading up to that, Square Enix released they're going to release a special vinyl album for the game. It will feature a total of 8 tracks. You're like, what? 8 tracks? Well, it's vinyl. You can't fit a whole lot on there. One of them is an entirely new song, with the 7 other tracks being new arrangements of classic songs from the game. It's available for pre-order through the Japanese Square Enix store. It will be available for purchase in North America and Europe, perhaps at a later date and time. It is not cheap. It will release on June the 22nd and cost about $34. We'll have 2 sides, 4 tracks on each side. Side A is Dreams of the Past, Memories of My Soul. Song number 2, Chrono Cross, Scars of Time. Then A Dream Never Forgotten, and A Vow of Wind in Dreams for the 4 on side 1. Side B is Sailing from Another World, Termina from Another World, Bound by Fate, and Fossil Valley. They had a little YouTube teaser video they put up for it, showing all 8 tracks. So there you go. If you would like to check it out, you can. I'm definitely excited about this. I haven't looked in a while to see if our beloved PSN store had updated itself yet. Where were we about? We're getting close to that 2 weeks time frame that they usually put up stuff like this. So if you'll bear with me for the briefest of seconds. Yeah, still not seeing it on there. No. Why would it be on there? Why would people want to pre-order something? I don't know. So yeah, no Chrono Cross yet on the PSN store, at least according to my search on my computer. Come on. Just shut up and take my money. Please, PlayStation. I would like to purchase on that system. I mean, I love my Switch, but I want to play on my TV, so there you go. Anyway, we're looking forward to that one very, very soon. And if you're a vinyl lover, this may be a chance for you to get in on that. One final thing, if you've got some money that you want to spend, at least we've talked about these figures before at a more reasonable price point. The Good Smile Company is releasing a couple of pop-up parade figures. There's the ones that come in about $39 each, so on a budget. And they are for Persona 5, the animation. They're versions of Joker and Crow. Pre-orders are open for that. Again, these came out back in 2020, so this is kind of a re-release of that. They look pretty awesome, about 6.5 inches tall, and these are their Phantom Thieves costumes that they are wearing. Yeah, that's tempting. We talked about before. I quite like the pop-up parade version of these figures, and it's a way to get in without spending a ton of money. Some of these things that you've priced out are, I mean, they can get up over $100 pretty quick. So kind of nice that they do that. They were released in July of this year in Japan and September of this year in North America. You can pre-order them up until April the 20th. We talked briefly last week about the Echoes of Mana new mobile game coming out in the spring of this year. The fine folks over at Silicona, they got a hands-on preview with the game, and I'll just read the opening paragraph of their preview for it. When it comes to mobile adaptations of familiar franchises, there's always a concern. Will it get things right? Could it just try and capitalize on nostalgia? After spending some hands-on time with Echoes of Mana, it seems like there's an attempt to pay attention to the characters and gameplay fans of the series enjoy. Familiar faces are back. The battle system feels similar and isn't afraid to chuck a memory gem card at you that will give you the feels. Overall, it seemed like what I'm kind of thinking it was going to be. There's lots of familiar characters. It does kind of build off of Trials of Mana, obviously the new version of it, but lots of familiar faces in addition to your new custom character that you create at the beginning of it. So yeah, I think it could be all right. We'll wait and see when this thing pops up this spring. They also had a review for Rune Factory 5. I've seen more positive reviews for this game, so this is not the only negative one or many negative ones out there. But I don't think they said it was anything bad necessarily. But the way I read it was they were big fans of 4, and they necessarily didn't love the changes that they made with 5, and maybe it speaks more to how good 4 is rather than how 5 doesn't hold up to it. Like, it's maybe not a bad game. In case in point, me and Hans actually were talking about Ni no Kuni 2 today, and he was saying that he wanted to go back and play it again, and I was like, it's not that Ni no Kuni 2 is a bad game. It's that the first one was so good, in my opinion, and the second one doesn't live up to that. I didn't feel it was a $60 JRPG experience, and maybe this is a similar point, and there's others, that you can point to in series that are maybe not bad games, but just not as good as others in the series. That may be what we're getting here with the Rune Factory series. These are 3 games, while maybe not any 3 of them are what you would consider to be a JRPG or traditional JRPG, and they are influenced by them, and maybe ones that you haven't necessarily heard of. The first one is from developer Synthetic Domain. It's a turn-based strategy RPG called Lords of Ravage. It's coming out this year for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam. Here's the key features of the game. You are the final boss. Deal with dangerous heroes, slowly wearing them down before the inevitable fight with the dungeon boss, which is you. Or take matters into your own hands and appear on the battlefield to aid your less competent followers. 3 lords with unique playstyles. Each lord has different mechanics complementing their theme. As head of their faction, you're able to unlock the full potential of their units by using access to unique upgrades. There's diverse enemies. Fight a classic hero party, lone summoner, twin barbarians, entire military expedition, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, defined by their combat mechanics and battlefield conditions. You can develop a shadow empire, raid cities, make dark alliances, take possessions of cursed artifacts, or hunt for secret knowledge. Each aspect of your empire is important and has to be carefully balanced. No element is useless. They claim there is thoughtful and addictive gameplay. Mix units from different factions into deadly combinations. Whether your enemies with status effects make a powerful champion who will carry on to fight his or own, will carry the fight on its own, or deploy to hordes of undying minions. They say there's replayability. Unlock more potential upgrades and units as you progress. Learn more powerful and creative combinations to try out. Add more flexibility to your units. And they say there are stunning graphics. The style combines traditional pixel art techniques and modern technology. High quality art, lighting, and effects are a feast to the eyes. Kind of, in a nutshell, there's only so many of these games out there where you're kind of the anti-hero, you're the Dark Lord. I enjoyed at least 2 of the Overlord games that I played. Kind of had that similar idea as you were the bad guy and trying to defeat good guys. And I love a good new idea, right? I mean, how many times can we play the same thing over and over again? Why not be the bad guy for once? So yeah, we'll see how this one turns out. That Lords of Ravage. And it's coming out this year. It definitely has a unique look to it and feel. And something we'll keep on our radar. Publisher Dungeon Entertainment and developer Vestiria Project has changed the title of their strategy RPG. It was Vestiria Saga Gaiden, the Sacred Sword of Sylvester. Well, they're just calling it now Vestiria Saga 2, the Sacred Sword of Sylvester in the West, the company's announced. This version of the game will be enhanced to include the following new items: new music, a resolution upgrade. It's now in 720. Excuse me. Previously, maybe didn't hit that benchmark, and it's a retro style game, so Resolution's only going to matter so much in a game like this. New bonuses for completing the entire game. Battle results added to the end of every map. The ability to save every turn, as well as auto-save. Various new functions as a result of updating the game to the latest version of SRPG Studio as of December last year. A new single rebalance difficulty, adding new items, new buffs, skills, and more. So it just sounds like I think that's a good idea. You see this a lot. You see the term Gaiden in a lot of Japanese games, and other than Ninja Gaiden, they tend to change that when it comes over here to the West. This game is due out for PC via Steam sometime in 2022. It's a interesting looking game, to say the least. I haven't seen a whole lot on it, so hopefully we'll see some more here very soon. This one I had not heard of before, and it has kind of grabbed my interest. It is called In Stars and Time. It's an indie RPG which traps players in a time loop. It has shades of Undertale and Earthbound in it. Adrian Bizarre's upcoming PC game features a monochromatic color palette, quirky humor, and turn-based battles against exaggerated enemies. However, there's a serious undertone, as Vanguard's king is freezing in the land of time, and it is a day before the world ends, and the player's group is trying to stop it. However, there's a time loop in effect, which makes it possible to start over after dying in Try and Try. Again, the trailer is pretty humorous, and you're used to not seeing necessarily your party getting wiped out. Obviously, that's a part of the time loop mechanic. The first trailer introduces Sephrin, the leader of a group of warriors trying to save the day. After Mirabelle wakes them up in a field, they go to fight the king. However, along the way, players could often die, causing the time loop to kick in, so they restart, thwart that death, and continue onward. It also shows off the indie RPG's Earthbound-like battle system. Characters in the game can be tied to the rock, paper, scissors type, which influences their attacks, strengths, and weaknesses. So it's got a unique kind of hook. It's certainly got a unique art style, like monochromatic. I mean, it's easy to say it's black and white, but there's shades of gray and stuff in there, a bit like Undertale. If you use the word Earthbound in your description in any shape and form, you're going to at least have my attention. And after seeing the trailer and first screenshots for it, I'm interested, to say the least. It's coming to PC sometime next year in 2023. Its Steam page is online as well if you want to check it out, or you can head over to our Facebook or Twitter channel in order to see those trailers and images as well. Got one final story to pass on to you guys. We'll give you something to kind of look forward to, and if you're sending out good vibes on Saturday, selfishly speaking, we're going to try something a bit new for our next Sunday special. You've heard me, play a soundtrack or ramble on myself or even have a guest on. We're going to try to do two. Now, on its surface, that doesn't sound any more difficult than doing one guest on there. Obviously, we cannot see each other, and so you don't want to talk over each other. But, on the back end of it, there is the challenge of making sure both or all three parties are recorded properly, and there's no loss in quality, all that fun stuff. But just to give you a preview, me, Jordan, and Jake are going to talk this weekend. It's we couldn't work it out for next weekend, but this will be our first Sunday special of April, and that will release on April the 3rd. So, yeah, just hope that everything goes off without a hitch. We're really looking forward to it. Something we've never done before, and getting three JRPG nerds in one space to talk should be a lot of fun. We know we're going to be talking about Trails, as that is a shared love between us, and a bunch of other fun stuff I'm sure will pop up as well. So it'll give you something to look forward to here in just a few weeks. This last story I thought was pretty cool. Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii accepted the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 22nd Annual Game Developers Choice Awards in San Francisco. The Lifetime Achievement Award recognizes the career and achievements of a developer who has made, quote, incredible impact on the craft of game development and games as a whole, end quote. Here's a full transcript of his acceptance speech. It's not very long, but I just thought it was pretty cool and kind of gives some insight into the man that you can say what you will about Final Fantasy and its impact, but Dragon Quest really set the bar, and it continued to set the bar, especially in Japan. I think we would still have JRPGs without Dragon Quest, but I don't think they would be quite the same. And so, in no small part, we do owe quite a bit to this man. He says, "Hello, Yuji Horii here. Thank you very much for choosing me to receive the prestigious CDC Lifetime Achievement Award." He says, "When I was little, I loved to read manga. And throughout middle school and high school, I dreamed of becoming a manga author. In university, I joined the Manga Society, where I drew my own manga, helped professional artists with their manuscripts, and provided illustrations and articles for magazines. Even after graduating, I worked for a while as a freelance writer. But then something happened that changed everything. The arrival of the home computer. When I first read about computers in a newspaper article, I was absolutely fascinated with this new invention. I went out and bought one right away. I'd always liked math too, so I quickly got grips on my new toy. I taught myself how to code and started making my own fun games for it. It just so happened that Enix, which is now Square Enix, were running a game programming contest around that time. I put one of my games forward and it won. That's how my career in the game industry started, and it's continued nearly 40 years. That's really cool. I won the contest with an action game that I made to amuse myself. However, I was more into adventure games at the time, so that's what I decided to make next. A game where you progress through the story as you play, with murders occurring one after another. The Portopia serial murder case. In Portopia, the person giving you the, quote, "what will you do next" command prompts you is actually the murderer. The twist that got me a lot of good reviews and a lot of requests to make new games. One of the fantastic things about computers is their interactive nature. You just have to imagine what the player is going to do and then program the system to react to it. I really enjoy that kind of systematic storytelling. I also loved RPGs like Wizardry and Ultima, where gameplay followed the rails down a set story. So I made my own version, Dragon Quest. To me, Dragon Quest was like a manga, with its story unfolding through short conversations. It was like a manga that you could play on your computer. The team and I are currently working on the latest installment of the series, Dragon Quest 12, as well as a lot of other titles. I hope everyone around the world enjoys as much as you did Dragon Quest 11. We'll have some more announcements for you soon. I never knew that story. It's quite fascinating. I don't think you could get a job in the industry that way anymore, but it's always cool to see how people started and, like I said, 40 years later, still creating games that we love to this day. That's going to do it for episode 210. I'll talk to you guys again next week. Hopefully we'll have something a little bit longer than 30 minutes, but you just never know what you're going to get on here. Until then, get back out there and level up.